Okay, so you guys know how much I love diving into these real conversations about language learning.
It's so fascinating.
It is. And we got this amazing interview with Usman about his experience learning English. And,
Yeah.
what really jumped out at me was how it's like so much more than just, like memorizing verbs and all
Yeah.
that. It's really about like the whole human experience.
It's a journey.
It is.
It is.
And I think that's what we're going to try and unpack today. So
Absolutely.
let's start with like Usman's why. Like what motivated him to learn English,
Yeah, his why.
his why. And he talks about a bunch of things, career opportunities,
Of course.
connecting with people from all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
making travel easier. I mean, these are all like pretty compelling reasons, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Right.
And it's interesting because, it kind of highlights how English has become this like lingua franca. It's like the language that everyone kind of needs to know to get by in the world, especially now with, globalization and the internet and everything.
Yeah, it really makes you think about how much language shapes our experiences.
It does.
And, speaking of challenges, Usman didn't shy away from talking about the tough parts.
Oh, yeah.
And he specifically mentioned pronunciation,
Mhm.
like the words through and zo. Like,
Oh, those are
oh,
classic. English pronunciation is notorious for being tricky.
it is.
I mean, compared to some languages that are very phonetic, like Spanish or Italian,
Yeah.
English, it's like it's got this crazy long history. We've stolen words from like everywhere, Latin, French, German, and then you've got these spelling rules that just make no sense half the time. So
Right.
it's no wonder people find it hard.
Well, and what I love is that Usman, like, he really like leaned into this challenge.
He did.
He talked about using podcasts and movies to just like immerse himself in the sounds of English.
Oh, that's smart.
And he would like pause and rewind and repeat words until he got them right.
See, he intuitively tapped into one of the most effective ways to learn a language.
Which is.
Mimicry. Like think about how kids learn.
Mm-hmm.
They listen, they imitate, and the more you hear and repeat those sounds, the better you get at producing them.
Like almost training your ear and your mouth to work together.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Usman also shared his favorite English phrase,
I love this part.
break the ice.
Such a good one.
Isn't it? It's so evocative.
And you know what I think is so cool about idioms?
What?
Is that they really give you a glimpse into like the culture behind the language.
Oh, interesting.
Like break the ice. It speaks to this idea that in English speaking cultures, we value like, making people feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
especially in those initial interactions when you first meet someone.
It's like that awkwardness that you're trying to
break through it.
Yeah.
Break
yeah.
the ice.
I love that. Okay, so Usman also had some great advice for other language learners.
Oh, yeah. He had some gems.
He did. The first one was, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
So important.
I know, it's like so simple.
But it's huge.
It's true, and it really ties into this whole idea of growth mindset. The idea that we can always learn and improve.
And especially with language learning,
Right.
People get so scared of messing up, but that fear can really hold you back.
It can be paralyzing.
Exactly. You have to embrace the mistakes because that's often where the real learning happens.
So true. His second tip was practice every day, even if it's just 10 minutes,
Love that.
like short, consistent bursts of
For
effort.
them trying to cram it all in at once.
Right.
Totally. And it's actually backed by science. There's this concept called spaced repetition, and it's all about how our brains learn and remember things. We tend to forget stuff pretty quickly.
Natural.
But if we revisit information regularly at these spaced intervals, it strengthens the connections in our brain and helps us move that information from short-term memory to long-term memory.
And I feel like this applies to so much more than just language learning, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like any skill, any habit,
It's all about consistency.
it's the small, consistent efforts over time that make the biggest difference.
Couldn't agree more.
So what can we take away from Usman's journey? I mean, first of all, English can open so many doors.
Yeah.
Careers, travel, connecting with people from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a reminder that learning a language is about embracing the challenges,
Yeah.
finding those moments of joy. Like when you finally nail that pronunciation.
Where you understand a joke.
Yes, or an idiom.
Exactly.
And just remembering that small, consistent efforts really do add up over time.
They do.
They do.
And before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
Usman's story really highlighted this idea that language learning is about connecting with people, understanding their cultures, and just expanding our own worldview. So I'm curious, what about you? What language or skill have you always wanted to learn?
Yeah.
What's that one small step you could take today to get started?
Good question.
Think about it.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
And until next time, keep on learning.
Keep on diving deep.
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 Bye.
Bye.